Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap on BloombergQuint. Let's take a look at how things have panned out through the course of the week, which has been a relatively volatile one. I'm going to start off with the benchmark indices because, well, we have seen sharp cuts coming through. In fact, the Nifty has come off by as much as 2%, while we do have names like Dr. Reddy, Cipla, Sun Pharma advancing to a certain extent, Eicher Motors as well. We've had severe cuts for something like Yes Bank, of course, for reasons that we have spoken much about today. Tata Motors, State Bank of India and IndusInd Bank under pressure. In fact, it is the banking sector which has weighed down on the indices through the course of the week. But what about the broader markets? Let's take a look at what's buzzing there. In terms of the big movers, we do have Future Consumer, Indiabulls Ventures and Bliss GVS Pharma advancing to a certain extent by as much as well over 20%. On the losing end, we do have the likes of SpiceJet under a tad bit of pressure, Gayatri Projects, HFCL and Dish TV also declining by as much as 19%. Now, this is how things have panned out through the course of the week in terms of stocks. Let's also take a look at how and what events there were which actually influenced the markets going in. And on Tuesday, the US Federal Reserve made an emergency 0.5% cut on Tuesday in a bid to protect the longest ever economic expansion from the spreading coronavirus. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court set aside the Reserve Bank of India's 2018 circular that barred banks and other financial institutions from facilitating transactions involving cryptocurrencies. The Union Cabinet approved the merger of 10 public sector banks into 4. Punjab National Bank will take over Oriental Bank of Commerce and United Bank. Canara Bank will take over Syndicate Bank. Union Bank of India will take over Andhra Bank, and Corporation Bank and Indian Bank will be merged with Allahabad Bank. India's services sector activity rose at the fastest pace in 7 years in February, helped by a recovery in demand and business confidence. And on Thursday, the government placed Yes Bank under moratorium and capped withdrawals for a month, while the Reserve Bank of India superseded the bank's board, citing a steady decline in its financial position. And that's actually the reason why we have seen so much weakness in Yes Bank today. And as the number of coronavirus cases rise in India, Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das says the RBI will be proactive in dealing with threats stemming from the coronavirus outbreak and will have assessed the potential impact on India by the next rate decision. Now, these are just some of the important events that we have watched and seen come through and influence markets. But let's now take a look at how things are panning out with the kind of change in levels that we have seen based on the options activity and the open interest coming through here. So let's pull up what and where we have seen that increase in OI. For now, it does seem like it's going to be very hard for the Nifty to stay below the 11,000 mark. Why? We may have closed below 11,000, but we do have a significant amount of accumulation and open interest in the 11,000 put. And that's the reason why we may not see the Nifty, well, remain much longer. And should it sustain below 11,000, well, in that case, we may very well see lower levels come through. But for now, 11,000, it seems like it's a level that we can watch out for. Of course, on the higher end, it's 11,500, but it's a tad away for now. So we're going to watch out for supports, considering the markets are also on a falling streak. So we'll be watching out for that. Besides that, there'll be a bunch of other events that we'll be keeping an eye on. So let's also take a look at what we should be keeping an eye, moving in the markets next week. And it will be a truncated week, of course, as the markets will be shut on Tuesday on the occasion of Holi. But well, on Thursday, that is the 12th of March, consumer price inflation and factory output for the month of February will come out. The Finance Commission will meet all state finance ministers on Friday, the March 13th, to discuss options to align state fiscal responsibility and budget management acts with the central legislation. And the GST Council will hold their 39th meet on Saturday. So that'll be another important meet to keep an eye on. But besides that, we're eventually waiting and watching whether or not there is an arrest in the rising volatility that we have seen in the week, and also an arrest in the fall in the markets, specifically the benchmark indices through the course of the week. Well, on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint.